Good morning. Drink your coffee. Welcome to our new podcast, Fighting Duality. Fighting Duality.
Step out of the darkness into the light.
I'm talking about the dog.
I know the world is round.
World brand, and we. What's going on, man?
What's happening, buddy?
Not much. I noticed that I forgot to take the camera off for you.
Oh, you're good.
Figured we'd try and shoot an actual video this time and see how well it plays out. And we're also live on TikTok.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Just trying to get situated and get everything going on out there and everything else. So,
yeah. Check your text real quick.
Yeah, I seen that pop up. I don't think I'm friends with you on TikTok. So,
all right, that'll work.
How you been?
Oh, I've been, dude, it's been hectic the past couple of weeks. Been hectic. My dog is back at the dog spittle, and he is getting better, but it's been a rough road for him.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I just realized that I'm not playing the sound through TikTok, so they can only pick up one side of the conversation. Things we should have thought of before we actually did it. But
there's that. Yeah,
I can. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, I can read them off and get your response and repeat them. So, I mean,
yeah,
whatever.
Works good. So I do my sign thing every episode, and this week's sign isn't really a warning label, so to speak. But I went to my vet's office, and they've got their sign out front, and it says the only balls your dog needs is the one he fetches. I thought that was pretty clever. So
fun.
So when he went back to the dog spittle this time, I said, lop them off. And they did. So.
Wow, I just got a pop up on my live feed. It says live restricted for some audiences. Your live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Reason, trading or using tobacco. Oh, it's because I hit my vape.
What in the world?
Oh, wow. That's so weird.
That is stupid.
Ridiculous.
I can't get through to get a lighter.
There's a lot of people that do the nick a dick.
I'm hitting a vape. I'm not smoking a cigarette. You can see my wife in the background.
That's great.
Oh my gosh. So I have a topic of conversation that I came across, and I think it would actually be fun to talk about, and that is the Devil's Mountain in Wyoming.
Okay.
And how people think that it's some giant petrified tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, but okay.
Man, these pictures are wild. I've never actually been. I'd love to go and see it for myself. But to me, I mean, it looks like a giant damn tree stump.
That's bizarre.
It looks like an actual tree stump, and it's very hard for me visually not to think that, hey, that was a giant tree, especially considering how big redwood trees get.
Yeah.
Granted, they're nowhere near that size or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. But the petrified tree thing kind of plays because you have the petrified forest.
Right.
And I've actually been to the petrified forest and seen those trees, and there's a lot of similarities.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is a big tree stump.
I'm gonna have to turn away from TikTok so I can hit my vape.
Don't mention that.
They might restrict me again. I don't know.
Right. So are you unrestricted now, or do you got to start over?
No, I think it's restricted for some people, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't really care. But
I've seen a lot worse things on TikTok than someone hitting a vape.
yeah, I've seen somebody get hit by a car on TikTok and not be restricted. So
Yeah,
they don't
that's
let you
stupid.
drive or anything like that. But I figured I'd try it because I'd never done a live before, and we've got a
Right.
few people here that have joined in, and
Oh, okay, cool.
it's pretty neat so far. They're just popping up and watching us BS on a one-sided conversation for them. So
Well, so they can't hear me, huh?
no, no.
Well, you might want to give the email out on the YouTube and the Spotify while they're on there.
Oh yeah. So we are on YouTube at Fighting Duality on YouTube and also Fighting Duality on Spotify. You can listen to our podcast. You can clearly tell that it's more like a morning talk show than it is an actual like
And
conversation
you'll
about
you'll be able
whatever
to hear both
ETs.
sides of the conversation.
Yeah, and you'll be able to hear both sides of the conversation.
Yes.
But we are trying to figure things out as we go, and we're slowly getting there.
A lot better than our
Running
first
off of
episode.
Yeah, it's a lot better than our first episode. We're running off of minimal equipment with absolutely zero money due to this economy. So,
Yeah.
hey,
And if you know anybody that wants to sponsor us,
yeah, we are
yeah,
looking for sponsors. We would definitely take sponsors, and
Bucky's
we
would be
will
great.
include your company or whoever if you're just an individual.
Yep.
If you click the link on the TikTok, there's actually a Cash App link. If you feel generous enough and want to contribute to our train wreck of a podcast, it's on the TikTok link. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll take a penny. Pennies count.
Well, they add up.
They do, that's for sure.
They definitely add up. So,
But
well, now we're in the wonderful month of Thanksgiving.
yes,
And also coming up in just, 3 days? We've got the presidential election.
yeah, sure do. I went out and voted today, the last day of early voting.
Yeah.
That was a trip. We stood in line for an hour and a half,
You're a better man than
and
me.
yeah,
I
luckily it
wait
was nice
till
and cool outside.
I wait for election day. Of course,
Yeah, I'm not
where
fighting
I'm
that
at,
mess.
where I'm at isn't very. Uh, I shouldn't have to wait in line too long. Of course, by the time I wake up, most people have already voted, and then I'm going to work. So
Yeah.
that's how that'll work. So with that, I have been doing watching a lot of documentaries. And I say watching a lot. I've started, and the documentaries that I watch are lengthy, so I haven't finished maybe the first one regarding the subject that I would love to talk about this month. And so I'm going to gather some more information um, about this topic. And uh, oh crap, um, I just drew a blank. Oh, anyways, and then get some more information. I mean, I know quite a bit about what, and everybody does. Or, well, there's a lot of people that claim they know a lot.
Yeah.
But I have done the most the most recent documentary that I watched actually supports um, things that we have talked about, and for those of you listening, it is in regards to JFK
Mm,
because it was 60 years ago. He was assassinated this month,
yeah.
1963. So
Yep.
we're pushing. Well, let's see, we're pushing 60,
Yep.
59 years or wait a minute, no, 61 years. My
Oh,
math wasn't
wow.
mathing there for a minute. Yeah. So, um,
My math doesn't math a whole lot, so it's
yeah,
okay.
right. So, yeah, right about 61 years ago this month, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated allegedly by Lee Harvey Oswald. However, I was watching a documentary, and it's more along the lines of who really killed JFK.
Man, I've got my theories.
Yeah.
I definitely
So,
have my theories on that one.
I mean, my dad, when he was alive, he used to say, "Wouldn't surprise me if it was Jack Ruby."
No,
And
it damn sure wouldn't.
I was like, okay. So I did some more digging about Jack Ruby, and I was like, okay, he was a nightclub owner. He wasn't even from Florida, and then he moved to Florida. Or I think it was Florida, and became a nightclub owner. This, that, and the other, and got mixed up, and yeah, because a lot of people say the mob is the ones who killed JFK.
Well,
And
I
then
mean
you've got,
that's interesting because if you think about it, the government when the government started taking over the three-letter agencies, I'm not going to mention any names, but when they started coming into play, the mafia and the mob started dying out. But did they die out
well,
or did they switch over?
no, they didn't. Okay, so here's my theory on the mob. They didn't die out. They're still around having their big round table meeting. I'm telling you, the
I bet
mob
they
did not
are.
die out. And the
I bet they
mafia,
are.
they didn't die out.
No, they just changed their name to a three-letter agency.
No, I mean you got your outside mobs that aren't they don't give two shits about three letter agencies.
Well, I mean, when you have certain backing, you can
But
become the
if
biggest drug dealers on the planet.
but if you want to word it as in the government became the biggest mob or mafia, I mean you could say that,
Oh, definitely. I definitely would say that.
because you got this. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But so, anyways, I do find JFK very fascinating, and along with 9/11 conspiracies, and of course, uh, our Oklahoma City bombing conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
But for
It all
me,
ties in together. All of it.
yeah, well, I mean, OKC ties into Waco,
Oh, 100%.
and but for me, the most fascinating one because you hear all these stories and it makes your brain turn, and it's just JFK. I think that is the most fascinating. Um, I would love to know what happened.
Man, so Trump was on a podcast and said that he read the JFK files. And when he gets put in office, he said that he was going to release them.
He did that his last term.
Yeah, he released some. He didn't release all of it. He said that if he released all of it, it would cause worldwide discomfort, for lack of better terms.
Oh, I bet it would.
So, but he said this time around, if he gets elected, he's going to just release everything, and that includes the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah.
I didn't realize Martin Luther King was such a conspiracy.
Oh my. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I
It's
never
just
paid
as much a
no.
conspiracy as JFK.
Oh, I'm going to have to look into that now.
Yeah. It's buddy. Let me tell you, they had him picked off just like they did JFK.
Well, but JFK, there was. I mean, here's my thing: is if I remember correctly on this last documentary I started watching, they were talking about it was on the brink of World War III.
Well, I mean, yeah, that all ties in with the gold and going gold backed with bricks,
Yeah.
which almost just over 3/4 of the world currently is switched over to the bricks instead of the fiat.
Okay.
We're one of the last countries dragging our ass on switching over to bricks, which is gold, silver, and asset backed currency instead of the fiat dollar, which is if you look at the current exchange rate, the U.S. dollar is trash. It's worth pennies on the dollar anymore. It used to be one of the higher rated currencies, but it's not anymore. It's almost next to nothing.
Well, and I do believe they mentioned something about that in this document. I'll have to find it and send you a link to it or something. But it's actually, I think I watched it on what I watch it. I don't know. I got a Roku TV, so I just
Yeah, I do too.
search it and then it pops up, and I'm like, oh, well, let's watch this one because there's like several different documentaries about JFK.
Oh yeah, I watched. I'm not sure if it was a documentary or a video, like a movie, but it was really interesting to watch and listen how they explained their what they say happened. And you just kind of have to watch it with a grain of salt because I don't believe jack shit that comes out of the government's mouth anymore when it comes to assassination attempts or anything like that.
There
Especially
was
after the
one. Um, there was one that was called "Following Oswald," and I was
that
watching it for a bit, and I was just like, I don't know.
that may have been the one I watched.
And they were talking about there was a sleeper cell up the road waiting in case he didn't do it or whatever. But I mean, all the other ones that I've seen to watch, they're pointing at Oswald as a patsy,
Oh yeah. Well,
and
that's just them trying to convince you that that's what really happened, and they want you to
right,
follow like a sheep.
right. Well, but I mean, what I'm saying is Oswald didn't do it. He said, "I'm a patsy."
Yeah,
There
he
was
screamed
one.
that for
There was
years.
one interview that went right after they got him. He was like, I'm just a patsy," and I was like, "Oh, that's sketch." And they keep saying, there's always been that running joke of I was the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh yeah. I
Maybe
was.
not the
He screamed I was a patsy for I don't know how many years until they put a gag order on him, told him he couldn't have any contact with anybody or say anything if he was released from prison.
well, and Jack Ruby's the one that had him killed or killed him.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you?
Uh, well, you also got to think that Ruby was in with the incumbent at the
Yeah,
time. If JFK was to obviously drop dead,
yeah.
so I mean that
And
really ties
Johnson
in.
took
But you
over.
also, yeah, but you also have to look at who his counsel was too.
And see, and that's another thing my dad would say is like he believed that Johnson and Ruby were together.
Yeah, I mean
So
it's a deep, dark rabbit hole to go down with that one, and it's going to be
right,
fun to go down it. Might as well
so
call me a rabbit because I'm going digging.
right, right. So yeah, that's my plans for maybe the next podcast is to get a little deeper in that one and if you're listening, tell us what you think if you're
Yeah,
interested.
shit,
We want to hear your thoughts.
I'd like to get somebody on here with us.
Right.
We don't necessarily have to record the video or anything like that. Just this goes for anybody listening on YouTube or Spotify or TikTok. If you have a theory on the JFK files or anything like that, conspiracies with JFK or even Martin Luther King Jr., you can shoot
Yeah.
us an email at fightingduality.com and we'll be more than happy to get you on and get you going with us.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all remote. You can do it from your house with a cell phone and earpods, or if you have a microphone set up like I do,
Yeah.
that works too. As long as you have a computer or a cell phone, we can get it going.
Yeah. But if you've got some insight, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. We'd definitely love to know your theory on it for sure.
And there's uh, another topic later on, probably I don't know January, that I'm also kind of fascinated with wanting to get my pilot's license and liking aviation and everything. The Challenger explosion.
That was faked.
So
You couldn't convince me that it was real. Especially after seeing the people that were supposed to be on the Challenger explosion alive and doing their own thing.
I've heard that.
I mean, some of them are alumni for colleges.
I've heard that too.
like teaching. It's get out of here.
Right.
That was a farce. It was all pantomime. Just a big show. Why? That's the real conspiracy. Why?
Well, because it's gonna, like they do now, they're going to divert your attention.
True. But that also falls in with the moon landing. I don't believe that for the slightest of seconds that the moon landing was real.
And I believe that happened in 61, was it?
61, 63.
Well, Kennedy was president when that happened.
Yeah.
So that ties into, and shoot, it might have something to do with this.
Maybe. Hell, they just recently, I don't know if they came out with it because it kind of flew under the radar, but they were showing previews for a movie about faking the moon landing.
Really?
And I'll have to go digging for it. I'd like to see if they actually produced it. But yeah, they were making a movie about faking the moon landing.
Huh. Never heard of it. I'll have to look for it. I mean, I've seen like YouTube videos and whatnot and little 30-minute to an hour shows where they've, not reincarnated, but, what's the damn word I'm looking for?
Reimagined?
Something like that, yeah. Recreated.
Recreated, okay.
Dude, I tell you what, that's such a fucking... I feel like a dunce now. I'm like, Jesus.
It's all good.
But, yeah. So I watched that, and I was like, really? Okay. I mean, they brought some good, interesting points to it.
Well, I mean, like, why were there footprints on the moon before anybody else supposedly landed on the moon?
So
how did the cameraman get there without actually being there? And the cameraman should get all the credit for being the first one on the moon, if that was the case. I'm just saying.
He could have been walking around while he was setting up to
shout out to the cameraman. Well, he jumps off the ladder. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Neil Armstrong's the first man on the moon. Bullshit, the cameraman.
That's great. Never thought of that. I mean, now who's not saying that he didn't climb out of the pod after the astronaut did?
Well, then who the hell was there to film it?
Well, but he had to set his camera up.
Then he was the first one on the moon.
Neil Armstrong could have said, hey, I'm going to go out here and jump around for a minute, see how it is. Then you can bring your shit and come out here and set up. And so technically the cameraman could have been the second man on the moon.
I've got it. Here's the running conspiracy theory now. Anybody listening? The cameraman was floating. He never actually set foot on the ground.
So see, then he wouldn't be the first man on the moon.
He just got out of the capsule and was floating there like a fish out of water.
Because I mean, back then he's not going to have like a cell phone. Hold on, let me grab my phone. Let me video this. You
Selfie
know,
time.
right? I mean, he's going to have like yeah, uh,
Maybe
shit.
that's when the selfie stick was invented.
Well, no, because he wasn't
Just,
doing a selfie.
just stick the camera out there on a long ass stick. I mean, it's weightless out there, so it wouldn't have made it. It wouldn't have been heavy. Just
I
ran a
mean, he was.
20-foot pole out there and said, "Okay, Neil, go ahead."
I mean, that's. I'm not going to lie. There are some questions about how in the world did they broadcast from the moon, because they didn't record it and then bring it back, but they
No.
did record it. They would have had to.
Yeah, well, they did
But
record it, but at NASA, and they somehow lost that footage. I'm sorry, but you don't just accidentally lose footage of the first moon landing unless you were getting caught.
but what I'm saying is there, they put it on TV and they said, if I'm not mistaken, it was supposed to be a live deal. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I wasn't alive then. I don't know. But if
Yeah,
they're
it was
claiming
supposed to
it
be
was,
live.
if they're claiming it was live, then that's, in my opinion, got to be false.
Well, yeah.
Because here's the thing: is what they probably did when they got to the moon. They did their deal. They recorded it, brought it back, and then broadcasted it on TV from the TV station and saying, "Oh, this is live." No, it's not. They've been back a week. What are you talking about?
Right. Well, I've got one better for you. I have a cell phone. I'm supposed to be able to reach anybody, anywhere, at any time, except for in dead zones, right?
Well, then you wouldn't be able to reach anybody, anywhere, anytime in a dead zone.
Well, for
I
the most
mean,
part. For the most part. If I'm sitting here in my house and I want to make a phone call to say you,
yeah,
I've got signal. I can make that phone call. But
right,
the biggest thing is it's not tethered to anything. It's not tethered to a wall. They're not like cup phones where there's a string attached to it and it leads right to you.
right.
How in the hell did they make a phone call from thousands of miles away, supposedly on the moon, to the president's desk when he's on a land line?
I mean, that's a good question.
Granted, I understand that they had car phones back then,
Well, but
but they were
I mean,
still
that's
tethered to a line inside the car.
right. But it would still have to be a wireless connectivity of some sort
Right,
to get to that wired phone in your car, like an
right.
antenna, which they did have antennas. We still use antennas,
Yeah, for
but
CB.
but right, but what was the antenna back then? How far is it really going to reach?
Right. And what about the
Because I
dark side
mean,
of the moon?
you're going to have some strong frequency to reach from the moon down to Earth, and they'll probably say, "Oh, there was a satellite, or this was this, or there was that." I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that further and get back to you on that.
All fun things to discuss, which we've
I mean,
kind of
did
done now, but
I mean Russia could have put that satellite up there and they just hit it from
good God.
because how long has the military had GPS before they released it to the public?
Very true. How far
I mean,
behind is the public compared to the government? That
well,
is what
they're
I'd like to know.
yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, that's a good point. And I think maybe they did have the technology, but again, because I'm not completely saying the moon landing was a hoax. It could be. I'm on the fence with it, but I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
You want to hear something funny?
What's that?
We're sitting here and we're live on TikTok, and we've got a few people in here, but we don't have any. Nobody has liked anything.
That's funny.
That's all right.
Well, they probably think you're talking to yourself.
Probably. You know, one of these days I'll figure out how to tie it all in together. It won't let me go live off my laptop, which is stupid.
Right.
Um, but maybe I can try the desktop that we have and see if I can't run everything together.
Well,
Or at least get your voice on there too.
right.
I don't know.
So
Hell, we're still.
how many people are on TikTok?
I don't see. I don't actually think anybody's on here right now. I think they've all just left.
Oh, that sucks.
That's all right. I don't have very many followers on TikTok anyway. I think I have the bare minimum to actually go live, so it doesn't make a difference to me.
Oh
I
yeah.
just thought it would be a fun.
Oh no, you're good.
Apparently, we had 21 total views.
On that last podcast.
No, on TikTok.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Let's see here.
So, I don't know, man. We might have to think of some other stuff to come up with to keep the attention going.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm trying to do
Because
too
I
many
think,
things at once.
I really think right now a lot of people are just sick and tired of hearing about the presidential campaign and everything. Because I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you, I'm one of them. I am so sick and tired of hearing Trump this or Kamala that or whatever. I'm sick of it, man. I don't remember a presidential election that I was just like, this is bad. This is why I could never get into politics is because of all the mudslinging and the dirt throwing and finger pointing and shit like that. So I ran for school board one day or one year for local school board. Went to the election office, put my name in the hat, signed up to run for the school board, and two of the candidates started going back and forth. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want. I did not campaign. I didn't do shit because I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not here to sling mud on somebody. I'm not sitting here going to try to gossip on somebody. I'm not doing it. It's not me. No, I refuse. But I
man,
did
I've
get.
got too many skeletons in my closet to do something like that.
But I tell you what, I did get 1% of the votes.
Heck yeah, you voted for yourself, didn't you?
I don't. No, actually, I had a couple people tell me that they voted for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I
Oh,
do
speaking of
think,
writing in, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I was going to say, speaking of writing in, there was no place to write in a name on the ballot.
Do what
You
now?
there on the ballot, there was no place to write in the candidate you wanted. You know how normally you could write in a candidate if you didn't see your candidate on there or you didn't see a candidate you liked.
I do not recall ever being able to write in a candidate.
Oh, well, according to my wife, last year there was on the ballot there was a spot to write in the candidate. You know, if you wanted to write
Well,
in Mickey Mouse, you could.
but last year wasn't a presidential election.
No, I meant the last time that.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I
And
said last year.
if you realize there's, the only, and I'm sure, I don't remember if there's a independent running or not, but a lot of people forget there is an independent party.
Oh yeah.
And the last independent I ever remember running was Ross Perot.
Holy shit.
Because you never hear about the independents.
Oh yeah. I mean, they kind of fall by the wayside by the time it gets down to election time.
Right?
I mean, hell, look at Kamala Harris. She had to bow out of several places because they don't have the funding. They've burnt through all their cash hiring freaking people like Beyonce to come and supposedly speak at their convention when she got paid millions of dollars to come spend 6 minutes on stage.
No. If I'm running for president, you're going to come because you want to. I shouldn't have to pay you.
Oh man, they had Cardi B, Beyonce,
Of
Eminem.
course they did.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell thought it was a good idea to give Cardi B the microphone, but I'm sure the other side says the same thing about Trump and having, people like Hulk Hogan. So, I mean, it's six in one, half a
Man,
dozen in the other, but,
this has turned into a big showboat
oh yeah.
more
It's a
than
big
anything.
it's a big penis swinging contest. I've got the bigger one.
Urinary Olympians.
Well,
Yeah. Bunch of urinary
it's just
Olympians.
we have what, 3 days?
Yeah.
And it'll finally be over. Regardless of which way it goes, it's going to be hell. But at
So,
least we won't
okay.
have to hear, I'm going to be president. No, I'm going to be president.
All right. So now we need to start a pool.
Yes. Put in the comments. Put in the comments who you think's going to win.
Well, not who you think's going to win, but what conspiracy of is there going to be a recount?
Oh,
Is it going to
100%.
be like is it going to be like Al Gore and George Bush when those ballots got lost out of Florida?
Man, Kamala already said that if Trump wins, she's going to demand a recount.
She's got that right.
Yeah, she absolutely does. And Trump said
then,
Trump said the same thing. So I mean, either way.
Well, but here's the deal. So whoever wins, the other's going to get a recount. Now, is this going to be the pie in the face moment, or is it going to be one of those the one that's asking to recount? They'll be like, "Oh, you're right, you did win." You know what I mean?
Excuse me. No, hell no. You know damn well that's not going to happen.
I don't know, man.
You know damn well that's not going to happen. But
I don't know.
I saw on TikTok, actually, somebody had screenshotted, they were watching NASCAR in Pennsylvania. Or I don't know if they were in Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania was on the TV. I'm guessing they were in Pennsylvania. But they were showing the results of the election with Kamala winning by 4 or 5 points.
Really?
Yeah, and it was the week before early voting even started.
What? Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, oh yeah. It was 2 Sundays ago.
Oh, damn. So that's their projections.
No, it says the results of.
Oh, that's funny.
So Pennsylvania, you guys screwed the pooch.
Well, that should be an automatic. Your vote don't fucking count.
You would think, but hell, dead people's votes count.
Well,
They proved that in the last one.
You know what? And here's the deal. I would love to see where they took my dad's name and voted him for the Democrats, because I'll tell you this right now. My dad was a Democrat, but the only reason he was a Democrat was to piss off my great-grandmother. And he always voted Republican. I would challenge the shit out of that, and I would definitely go down and be like, okay, you lying motherfuckers, look here. I want to see.
God.
I wonder if that's public record.
It is. You can go online and see. I don't remember the
voted?
website, but I know you can go online and see if you voted and if your vote, what way your vote went.
Well, but see, your vote's supposed to be kept private.
Yeah, it's only for you.
Oh,
you can look up. You'll have to answer certain questions, like social security number or shit like that. But I know you can get online and find out, if your vote went in and counted or if it didn't, who you voted for, stuff like that.
If I could go on there and find out, I would, because my dad's been gone for 8 years, but I used to ask him. I asked him one day, when I was little, And I was like, Dad, you're Democrat. And he goes, Yep. I said, but you're always for the Republicans. He goes, that's just a technicality. I do that to piss off your grandmother. I was like, oh my God.
You know,
He
now
didn't,
that you mention it, I'd like to see if my dad voted the last election. He's been gone for 25 years.
right? Because I used to, because my dad hated my great grandmother, hated her. And I'm not going to lie, she was a bitty old bitch, and she was one of those that wouldn't, wouldn't think before she talked, and she'd just tell you right out, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but she was she was just a downright rude, hateful bitch.
Well, you know, I would be the biggest asshole on the planet too if I had to live through the Great Depression and all the Dust Bowl and all that.
Well, this is true.
You
This
know,
is
I mean,
true.
hard times make hard people.
But, she eh, she was one of these that her shit didn't stink. She was better than everybody else.
Oh
A
no.
Rudy Pooty, fresh and fruity, and I was just like, nah, I don't have. And she didn't care. I mean, it's like she hated the family, and we weren't good enough for her. And my grandmother would go toe to toe to her and be like, listen, you don't talk to him or her or whoever that way. That's not right.
I mean,
So,
I understand that, but at a certain age, you develop a certain level of don't give a flying rat's ass.
well, and I get that too. But I mean, this was, she wants to, if she didn't know you, she would just come across like, oh, she's just the most perfect and sweetest person you knew. But,
My
I
favorite thing
mean,
is when these older people, they sit there and because they have no filter and they have no give a shit. Like, say for
right?
instance, me, I'm a bigger guy. Clearly, you guys can see that. But these older people have no damn filter, and they're like, Jesus, you need to lose weight. I'm like, no shit.
Well,
Thanks for the vote of confidence there. You know.
but one example, my grandfather, sweetest man you'd ever meet, my great grandmother's son in law, um, he had a lot of strokes and whatnot, died of a heart attack. I mean, it was just all consistent over a couple of years. And my great grandmother, we had moved her in with my grandparents who were staying with us, and it was only for like a couple of days while
We're
they set up
losing you.
her new apartment at an old folks' home. Oh, did you lose me?
Nah, we got you back.
Okay. So, anyways, she told my grandmother while my grandpa was on his deathbed, you just need to quit worrying about him. I'm going to live longer than he will. He's just going to die. And, dude, I'll
Holy
tell you what,
shit!
dude, I was in middle school and I wanted to go out and knock her fucking dentures right out her mouth. Pissed me
Wow.
off. And so we'll fast forward a few years because she didn't die until she was like 106.
Oh my
And,
god.
and so she was staying in a nursing home by this time. And I used to deliver meds to the nursing home she was staying in. And the nurses one day did not realize that was my great grandmother. And I had some of the meds that I was dropping off were actually hers. And they looked at it and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go back there with a pillow and put it over her fucking head. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, that's my great grandmother. And that was the wrong thing to fucking say. I don't give a shit how mean and everything she is, but you just don't say that. And I thought, I can't believe I heard this shit.
That's
Could not believe
insane.
it. And because, and I had a grudge against my grandmother since I was real little, only because, she played favorites.
Right.
And she just thought that my older brother, who, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, he's a piece of shit. I, and I'm just like, Wow.
Man, I
Now
didn't find out that I had, and I knew I had one older brother, but I didn't find out that I had a second older brother until my dad's funeral. I was
really?
15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently
That's,
he lives in Las Vegas. I've seen him maybe twice in my life. But
does he
my
claim
older
you?
brother that I did know, yeah, he claims me,
Okay.
which is cool. But I mean, he didn't claim his younger brother, which is my older brother that I did know that I had. But then again,
Now I'm assuming this is a half brother.
yes, yeah, my
Okay.
my dad was much older when he had me. My older brothers, one of them's deceased now, but he was in his 50s, and he died in 2017, I think, is what it was. But my other older brother, he's got to be in his 60s, late 50s, early 60s.
Is that the one in Vegas?
Yeah. So they're like 20, 25 years older than me.
Shoot, maybe you should reach out to him, get to know him better.
He's busy a lot.
No, I mean, he does live in Vegas.
Well, I mean, the line of work that he does keeps him pretty occupied. I can't on here say what he does, but
Are we going back to the mob?
something like that. Something like that for
That's
sure.
funny. That's funny. Lord, man, oh man, that's crazy. I was thinking, I was talking to my daughter today, and I was like, so I shouldn't be saying this, and I'm not. I can't, but it's fucking hilarious. But so anyways, I was talking to her about my older brother. He came up because I got two older brothers, my oldest, and I was like, when he passes, I'm it. I am all he's got. Once my mom goes and his dad goes, I am all he's got.
Damn.
So when he passes, I was like, I'll have to take care of all of his shit.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Which I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those brothers because I'm the youngest. And when when we were younger, of course, he's 11 years older than me.
Oh wow.
And I was like, man, I'd go in his room. He had a brand new Atari 26,000 or 2600 and always had a new TV that was color. I mean, always kept his shit and like pristine. Everything was very organized, very organized. And it's still that way. And I would go in his room. He would leave for the evening, and I'd go in his room and I'd turn on the Atari, and I would get a record out of his record collection and put it on the turntable and play it and blare it. And then he got a CD player, and I'd do the same thing. And he was so, you're going to scratch my shit. You're going to tear up my
Well, we're
shit. And I'd be
losing you
like,
again.
and did you get me? Am I back?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, he was so worried I'd tear up his shit, and I would just pretty much tell him, go fuck yourself. And I said, okay, I'll stay out of your room, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he started locking his door when he would leave. And me being me, I'd just go in there and unlock his fucking door and go in his room and carry on. Because I always thought he had better shit than me.
Yeah.
But, and I'm
Naturally.
sure, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be that way when, when he passes. Because I'm going to be like, he ain't got no wife, he ain't got no
Keep
kids. So,
you keep fading in and out there, bud.
am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
I think it has something to do with the thunderstorms that are rolling in. So
It could be. It could be. Ooh, tree in the road. But, so yeah, it's good stuff. But Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
I
half the
think
time
now's
he
about a
doesn't
good
know
time
that.
to
You there?
go ahead.
Okay. But
Yeah.
anyways, I don't think he knows the difference between come here and sick him or sneezing a wet fart, but I claim him.
Well,
But yeah,
I think now's about a good time as any to wrap it up.
all right. Well, sounds good to me. You guys hit us up on YouTube or Spotify, fightingduality at
Spotify.
gmail.com. Send us an email. Hit that like button. Pretend like it's your older
Subscribe.
sibling and smack the shit out of it and get your notifications and
Apparently, apparently your great grandmother too knock her dentures out.
right. So yeah, so yeah, hit the like notifications and uh, send us an email or put a comment on one of those two platforms, and we'd love to get our listeners more involved.
Yeah.
Must have lost me again. Oh,
Well,
no,
I
there you are.
definitely get a lot more. Yeah, must get a lot more communication going between people. I've been putting it on Facebook and Instagram. We have an Instagram too, Fighting Duality on Instagram
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
TikTok. I was on live with TikTok. The TikTok is Fighting Duality. They forced me to put a number behind it. I don't remember what number it was though. Oh no, it's just Fighting Duality on TikTok.
Sweet.
So yeah, drop a
That's pretty
comment on
cool.
there. Uh, Hope you guys enjoyed staring at my ceiling fan for the video. I know that I'm not coming in very clear, but it's a shot in the dark with a video, and we figured we'd try and upload that, uh, or even if we can.
Yeah.
So it's all new. It may just be audio. So
Whatever works.
yeah,
And it will get better. This is a work in progress. We're on, I think, with all of them combined now, episode
6.
6. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it's fun for us. We hope you have fun enjoying it. I mean, if nothing else, you're on a long road trip or whatever, pop
And you
us
feel
in
like
and
wasting
listen to us.
55 minutes of your time.
Yeah. Just give us 30 to 55 minutes of your time each day
We'll
or
keep
each
you
show.
awake for sure.
We hope. If there's something you would like us to talk about, you're going to have to tell us because we're not mind readers.
Yeah, for God's sakes, tell us. Hell, tell us you want to join on one of our podcasts. Be
Yeah.
more than happy to have you on. I've still got the fella from work that would like to be on here and tell us about his book that he wrote. He's a published author. Eventually we'll get him on here. But I don't want to bother him because we always do ours late at night. So we'll just have to give him a heads up and tell him to stay up late one night and join us. And like my partner was telling you, comment, like, subscribe, share, get us out there. We're doing the best we can with the equipment and the stuff that we got, and eventually it's going to get better. So look forward to hearing from you guys. Good morning. Drink your coffee. Welcome to our new podcast, Fighting Duality. Fighting Duality.
Step out of the darkness into the light.
I'm talking about the dog.
I know the world is round.
World brained, and we